Joe, what's going on? So today I have my Harley Benton guitar down here, my semi-hollow guitar, which was my birthday present this year. And you might have seen the review I did of this guitar. I adore playing this guitar. It sounds great, feels really good, beautiful neck, but it does need a little bit of extra TLC. So today I am gonna start modding it. You know, initially when I purchased the guitar, I was thinking, nah, I'll just leave it stock. You know, I'll just leave it alone. I won't mess with it or anything like that. And a couple people said, "You're gonna mod it. I know you're gonna mod it." And you know what, guys? You were right. You were absolutely right. So I have a couple of parts here. I've got a couple of pickups. They're both by Iron Gear. One is a rolling mill, and this is actually a neck pickup, but it's like 14k output, so I figured, you know, it's going to do fine for bridge. And this one, I think it's a blues engine or something like that. I can't even remember what the name of this one is, but hey, you know, I scored both of them on eBay. Yeah, for cheap, which was great. And I have locking tuners in here as well, and like that. So I am going to change out the tuners for locking tuners because I'm very lazy at changing strings, and I like locking tuners because they're really quick. Basically just lock the string in place and tune. Job done. So I'm going to do that, and also the frets need a polish, so I am going to take care of that and do the action, etc, etc. So I'm going to put this in a case, take it down to my workshop, which is at the bottom of my garden, and get busy doing it because I want to play this again. I am also going to show you before and after sound clips of said guitar and pickups, so that you can see what the difference the pickup change makes. So this is going to be pretty cool. Alright, down to the back cave. Yeah, let's get down there. Alrighty, I'm in my workshop and I have the guitar on my bench here. Now there are a couple of ways to polish frets, which I wanted to show you before I actually unscrewing and start work. I've used this system before, the Thomas Ginex fret refinishing system. I really like this. It's got a bunch of, you know, really fine grit sandpapers in there, and they literally go down to pretty much nothing. You know, you can't feel the grit on this one, and that's the final one. I think there's like 8 or 9 different stages you go through. Little polishing pad, and basically just wrap the sandpaper around it and go over the frets. I've used that before. So I really like this one. It's a good system to use. I have a Dremel tool, which is what I'm going to use today with one of these soft kind of wheels on them, and a little bit of polishing compound, which I have for this as well. So I'm going to use this because it's just going to be a little bit quicker. But before I do that, I am going to need to just put masking tape over the fretboard and cover the body and stuff as well, so that I don't end up making it really dirty, and also to protect it. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to unstring and then take off the fretboard. Alrighty, I'm almost done doing this. Now here's a little tip when you're doing the upper frets, and even some of the others. Rather than actually trying to cut the tape to the size of the fret, just cut it smaller so that you can actually overlap in the middle. It makes it much easier to cut the tape, first of all, because you don't have to measure every bit of tape, and also to put it on, because then you can just put part of the tape at the end of one fret and then at the end off another, so kind of like this. So that's covered about half the fret, and then I can get another bit and then just finish it off. Much quicker way of doing it. And to protect the body, I've done this cutout in some heavy card, which is going to just lay over the fretboard like this. I'm going to stick it into place just with the masking tape I've been using. And this is actually a decorator's masking tape, so it's very low tack. It's not going to damage the finish or anything on the guitar. I specifically picked this so that it wouldn't kind of tear off the finish on the guitar. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this on here, just to keep it in place, and that's going to protect the body when I'm doing the work. If I just leave it like this, then the Dremel tool is going to spool up and it's going to just spray stuff all over the place. So I'm going to cover this up, and you know, if I slip with the Dremel tool, it's going to affect the finish and stuff, which I don't want it to do because it is a purdy guitar, isn't it? Alrighty, so ready to polish these frets. Yay! Alright, I'm ready to start polishing the frets, and they're just a little bit gritty, so they're not going to need too much work. So I've got my polishing compound. I'm going to start up my Dremel and just put some of the compound on the wheel first, then very lightly go across each fret until it's nice and shiny. Now when you're doing this, be careful because there are parts on the Dremel like this little collar here which will damage the frets if you kind of hit them on there or anything like that. So be very, very careful if you're using one of these, because you don't want to end up having to refret your guitar. Alright, so I'm going to get some of this compound on there. And the reason I've covered everything is this tends to kind of go a little bit everywhere because this is a Dremel tool and it's spinning pretty fast. There you go, look, it's already on my gloves. And there are bits which flew all around here as well. Alrighty, time to start polishing. Here we go. Okay, I've started to do some of the frets, and as you can see, they're starting to get really shiny. You can see the reflection there of the camera going back and forth. Now if I show you the frets I haven't done, they're quite dull, especially on the tops, and there's actually a lot of dirt coming off these frets, which I'm quite surprised about. I didn't expect that, which is all of this stuff that you're seeing here, which is another reason to cover everything up. Alrighty, I'm going to do the rest of the fretboard and get all of these frets done. Now that was a lot of dirt to come off the fretboard. I'm glad I gave it a good clean because all of this stuff came off the frets, and that's what was causing them to feel pretty gritty. So all of this is off there now. I used a little bit of lemon oil as well just to take off any excess, and I'm actually going to use the very, very fine grit from the Thomas Chinex refretting system to give these a really nice high shine. I've got it all taped up anyway, so it's only going to take me a few minutes to do. Alright, all done! Yay! Okay, it's all done! Yay! I can start taking this tape off, and then I'm gonna just oil the fretboard, and then the next job will be changing out the pickups. Just a quick note again, this tape is coming off really easily, which is another bonus because then I don't have to start scraping the sides to try and get the tape off, because we don't want to mess up the finish. Well, I don't want to mess up the finish. A little bit of lemon oil on the fretboard just to make it look nice, and to clean up a little bit while I've got the strings off. And this fretboard's made of like a baked maple. It's just baked until it's kind of, dark. Okay, I'm going to leave that on there for just a minute or two, and then I'll rub the excess off. Alright, that's the fretboard done. I've just finished lemon oiling it, and check it out, it looks really good. Yeah, it's just darkened up the colour of the fretboard. It looks great. Alright, onto these guys. Let's get these pickups out. Now, one of the things to keep in mind when you're doing electronics work on a semi-hollow is that there is no back plate. So you either have to do the work through the F-holes if the pots come through there, or you have to take the pickup out, get the whole loom out, and then refit it, etc. And you've got to find all the places, etc. So like I said, working on semi-hollows can be a little bit tricky, and I've done it once before. And let's see how I get on. I'm going to loosen everything off first and check where the loom is going to come out from. Alright, it's about half an hour later, and that's as far as I've gotten. I've literally just managed to take this out and take this out. Something I discovered about this guitar is that there is no clearance to actually take this out or this out. So these don't actually drop back into the body far enough or at a steep enough angle in order for me to actually take it out of this F-hole here. So plan B, which is not ideal, but I'm going to go for it anyways. What I'm going to do is, these pickups are already hooked into the loom here, so I'm basically just going to snip the wires on the pickup, and both of the pickups, and then attach the new pickups to those wires which are actually coming out. Not ideal for these pickups, granted, but hey, I just can't get this out. I have been trying and trying and trying. So if you guys have any tips about how to get these controls out of a PRS style guitar or a Harley Benton semi-hollow guitar, please do let me know. Leave a comment or contact me through my website, because I would love to know. Because this push-pull pop, it definitely doesn't come out. This selector switch doesn't drop down far enough into here to even move anywhere. So I'm kind of wondering whether they actually built this guitar by putting the switch in first, which is nuts, but who knows. Anyways, plan B. Plan B. There's always a plan B. Alrighty, here we go with plan B. So I have managed to take out quite a lot of the wire from the bridge pickup and the neck pickup. So I am actually going to snip the wire here so that I have a good length left to strip down, and then I can join the new pickup onto these looms. So got the bridge there, got the neck there, got them marked out, made sure that yep, that's the neck, and yep, that's the bridge, and that's gonna actually leave a good amount of cable on the pickups. If I want to sell them or something, then I can. So wire cutters, let's do it. There you go, that's the bridge, and that's the neck. And there you go, got the pickups out. And I have enough wire here in order to actually reconnect the pickups, the new pickups obviously, onto here. I'm about to install the new pickups, and I was contemplating not putting the pickup rings back on, but I don't know if you can see, but if you look around where the pickup rings were, you can see little lines, and you know, the holes are actually a little bit scruffy and stuff, and that's because somebody, there you go, you can see it right there. They probably put the pickup rings on the guitar before the lacquer was completely dry, so you get this little effect here. I could leave it, but you know what, it's going to look a little bit scruffy, and this is a pretty looking guitar, so I think I will put the rings back on for the time being. Maybe I'll strip it down at some point and do the work and really get rid of all of these little bits and pieces, fill the holes, but for now I'm just going to put the pickup rings on. So here's another little tip for you. Keep the foam that you get inside pickup packets, because this actually comes in handy to cut into strips like that and then put under the pickups. It basically stops the pickups from moving around, and I like to do that just to keep them secure, you know, so that they don't kind of move around in there and get microphonic or anything like that. So handy little tip, just these little bits of foam, don't throw them away, they are really useful. Alrighty, so I've gone ahead and put the pickups in the guitar, and I've got plenty of wire. Look, that's really long, almost reaches the camera. Now I've just basically got to snip these wires and make sure that I'm connecting the correct wire. So I've marked up the neck pickup. Don't need to do that to the bridge because we've only got the two pickups. And sometimes you'll actually see on these looms that things are already connected. So I can see here that the black and the plain wire are already connected. That's the ground wire. Then I've got a green and white, which are connected here. They're the coil wires. So they're going to go to the red and white here on these ones, because when I was looking inside the guitar through the jack socket, I could see that the red and white were actually connected to the push-pull pot here in order to coil split. So there's a change of colors here, and then the red wire is the live wire, so that might be the same here as well. I suspect it is. So I shall check that before I wire it up. So I'm going to snip these wires, make sure they're the correct length, so there's not too much cable lying around, and then I'm going to connect them up. Hey gang! So it's the following day, Following morning. Yesterday I hooked up one of the pickups and realized I'd hooked up the wrong pickup in the wrong position. Then I ran out of time because I had guitar lessons to give. So what I had done is hooked up the bridge pickup to the neck position. So I had to take it all apart. So hence the guitar is kind of still in bits, and I have the looms out here. So, you know, it was just one of those things. Yesterday was a few things not happening the way I perceived them. But, you know, with guitars, when you're working on them, sometimes this happens, and you've just got to kind of just relax, think, figure out a solution. And like I did yesterday with the wiring and not being able to take the pots out, yeah, I just figured out, well, hey, you know, I'll just cut some of the wire and hook it up again. It's going to work. But then, you know, I just ran out of time. So it'll get done today. Yay! So first job is to get those pickups hooked up, and then I'm going to put the new tuners on, put a new set of strings on, and just do a quick setup and ready to go and try this guitar out. I'm pretty excited, so I'm going to get on with the soldering. Where's the guitar gone? It's still under here. I've just got all of this cardboard on here because, you know what, soldering irons run at like a couple 100 degrees, and if solder or your iron hits the finish on the guitar, it's going to damage it. I don't want to damage the finish on my guitar, so I'm covering everything up. So I'm just going to connect these wires up. I've got these this cool soldering iron recently, which actually feeds the solder in. So I'm going to use this. It's pretty handy sometimes. Alright, one pickup wired up. I'm going to put some electrical shrink on all of these connectors because I don't want them to touch, because that's going to short out the pickup. It's going to stop working. Second pickup to do first though, I'm going to solder up all of these wires, and then I'll do the shrink. Alright, so the electrical shrink is on there, and this is a really good thing to do because then the wires won't touch each other and short the pickup out so that it stops working. And I've checked all of the positions with the push-pull as well, and I just check it with a multimeter here, and it tells me the resistance of the pickup. So that's the bridge pickup, that's middle position, that's the neck pickup, and then when I pull this up, you'll see it goes down, so that's showing that it's coil tapped on both positions, the bridge and the neck. So that's all working. Just got to screw these pickups into place, and check it out, looks cool. I love the look of this zebra pickup in the neck. Alright, I'm going to change the tuners now, and then restring. Then it's going to be time to try this guitar. It's looking good. I'm really liking how the neck's looking. I may put some more lemon oil on there because the lemon oil I put on yesterday has made it look really, really cool. Alrighty, final thing to do, change the tuners out. I've got my new tuners here, which are locking tuners, which are going to make it just easier to restring and stuff. like using all the locking tuners. And I got these kind of a half moon, whatever you call them, keys. They're different from these ones. And these ones are more kind of shallow like. These ones are the Grover style, I think. Anyways, I'm going to loosen these first and then take them off the back, take the screws off. I'm going to use the existing screws at the back, these ones here, because the holes are already tapered for them. So I'm going to keep those screws. I tend to find that when I start changing screws, sometimes the screws fit, sometimes the screws don't. If the screws don't fit, then they get threaded very easily and stuff. So I just kind of, if they're the same color, even if they're not the same color, sometimes if it's my guitar, I'll just use the same screws. Ha! Alrighty, let's get going with this. Another little tip, when you're taking these little screws out, be very careful and use the right screwdriver because they can easily get threaded. So I'm just going to take my time over this and loosen them a little bit, using as little pressure as I possibly can. I'm going to do them one at a time because I want to put the same screw back in the same hole. So I'll get my new tuner. I'll take the collar off it. Place it in there. And screw it back in so it's secure. I haven't tightened it too much. Again, I don't want to thread that screw. So there you go, first tuner done. So here's a reason not to tighten too much, and I didn't even tighten too much. This screw just snapped. The rest of it's in the hole there, so I'm gonna have to drill out this little hole here very, very carefully, making sure not to damage the guitar, and then use one of the new screws. So there you go. That's a reason not to kind of tighten these too much. Even if you don't, sometimes they snap. Okay, so very, very, very carefully drilled out a little bit of that screw that was still in there, and then a hole right next to it. And now I can fit my tuner into there, and it does actually fit in there, and I'll be able to access the screw hole. So that was the solution to this. And you got to choose it. Alright, and it's all done. All 6 tuners are on. Final stage, just putting the bolts back on, and then we are done. I'm just going to use an adjustable spanner just to tighten up these bolts. Again, I'm just going to tighten them up slightly. I don't want them too tight. I do want the tuner to hold in place. When you're doing work like this, just take your time over it. No need to rush. You want to get it right rather than rushing it and slipping and scratching the headstock or something like that. And that's it, all done. All the hardware's done now. Just time to restring the guitar. Now with all this old hardware, with the ones that I've already taken off, they're still good, you know, tuners. These are really good. I liked using them. So I'm just going to put them back in the bag with the extra screws that I have from the new tuners, and I'll either use it on another guitar or sell them at some stage or something like that. But these are always handy to keep around, you know, for other guitars and things like that. So just going to pop them in a bag. I have the 2 pickups as well. The pickups I'm just going to keep in this little case here, and maybe I'll sell them, maybe I'll put them on another guitar at some stage. So always handy to hang on to bits and pieces, especially when you build guitars like I do. Alright, the guitar is all strung up. I did that off screen and also tuned it and intonated it. There is a way to intonate these guitars. So if you look here on the sides of the bridge, there are 2 little holes, and there's actually a little bolt in there which you can adjust with Allen key, and it basically pushes against these screws, so it can either bring the bridge slightly further back or forward. And then you've got an extra adjustment for the G string and the B string as well. So by making those adjustments, you can actually get the intonation of the guitar pretty close, even if it's kind of, you know, a fixed type bridge and you can't do the individual saddles. And I've got it pretty dead on actually. So I'm really pleased with the intonation of the guitar. And it's going to sound great. So it's all set up. I've stretched the strings. Time to take it inside, plug it in, and give you some sound clips. Love the way these pickups look now. Chrome and a zebra. Yeah. So that was an interesting one for you to see, because you know what, when you're doing work on guitars, sometimes it doesn't go as planned, but it's done and it's looking super cool. It's feeling really good to play. I'm really glad I polished these frets up. They're looking nice, and that fretboard's looking great, and locking tuners on it, and the iron gear pickups. Now I've already recorded sound clips of the guitar with the ROSWELL pickups which it shipped with, and I basically went through a bunch of different sounds. So I'm going to do the same thing right now with these pickups, the iron gear pickups, just to show you what the difference is between the sound of the two and how the guitar sounds now. I've had a quick plug in and play, and it sounded pretty cool, man. I'm liking these pickups. Alrighty, I'm gonna get to the studio and record these, and you're gonna see it right now. So, what did you think? What did you think of the sound with the new pickups? Well, you know, the Iron Gear pickups to me sound a lot fuller, especially the coil split sound. That was just beautiful. And the drive sounds as well. Everything just sounds much, much deeper, which was just awesome to hear. I love playing this guitar. I'm so glad I did the fret polish on the guitar and changed out the pickups and stuff, because it has improved an already fantastic guitar. I enjoy playing this. The semi-acoustic sound is just so cool. It's got a great vibe about it. So there you go, just an easy, quick, simple, well, I say quick and simple, it took me ages to actually change out the pickups and stuff. Which was unexpected. It was supposed to be a quick and easy change, but it turned out to be quite a challenging one. But I'm still glad I did it, and I'm really glad I was able to share the experience with you guys as well. So maybe it'll help you guys going forward when you're thinking about doing something like this. I would love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment in the comments box below and let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the sound. Was it worth doing? I think it was, personally. You know, I loved the sound of the guitar before. I love it even more now. Just it plays and sounds so much more dynamic to me anyways. So I would love to hear your thoughts, and remember to sub to the channel as well and give it a thumbs up. Bing! So much appreciated, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I shall be back for another video really soon. In the meantime, have an awesome, inspiring, positive, and beautiful day. Yeah! See ya.